Hi, I want to spend a little time today to talk about my vintage Carvin X100B. This is a 1984. I bought this brand new when I was just a teenager, and it's been with me ever since. It's been the only amp I've ever used for most of my life. It's fantastic. I've tried other amps. I've used different things in studios and stuff like that, and realized that this amp is extraordinarily responsive and just does everything I needed to do. Anyway, it's from 1984. I'm playing through this here cabinet, which is a Legacy 1 cabinet I bought probably around 2005. It's the first cabinet Carvin offered with the removable back. It has vintage 30s in it, Celestion vintage 30s. Customized it a little bit. I got rid of the brown baffle and I put some white trim around it, okay? And then back to the amp. Again, this is the X100B. This was from 1984. It was only made with 6L6s back in the day, so it was only out a couple years before I got a hold of it. And I bought a 1/412 cabinet with it when I first got it. I want to go through a couple features about it. Right now I have it on 100 watt setting. It has 50 and 25% settings. I'll let you hear what that kind of does, but when you switch it to 50 or 25%, it gets a little spongy feeling and a little less dynamic. So here's the clean challenge. Just play something clean for you. Let me see. So as you hear, it's very clean on the clean channel. Very clean. So now I'll switch to the 50% setting, and you'll hear a difference. It'll get a little dirtier. You'll hear the power tubes saturate a little. The power tubes saturate because not that it switches two power tubes out of line, but what it does is actually reduces the voltage across the power tubes, which make it go into overdrive. Just get a little distortion from that. So same thing. lead playing, so you'll hear it. So here it'll break up a little bit there. Nice classic rock kind of setting. That's my daughter applauding back there. So that's kind of what you get. If you crank it up a little bit more, I'm only on 1.5 there on the volume. Oh, and the clean channel only has one volume. There is no master. It shares the rotaries with the lead channel, but there's no master volume. The first version, I think, of this Carvin X100B was there was a master and a volume on the clean channel. Here it's only a volume. The power amp section is wide open. So if I turn it up a little bit more, you get a little more grit. So here a little bit more grit there if I turn it up. Now, to go to 25 watt setting, it's almost, there's so much voltage being choked out of the power tubes that it gets so saturated. It's not a setting I like at all. Might be good for practicing in your bedroom or something like that. It does reduce the volume quite a bit. So it gets real dirty, and that's only the clean channel. That's 3 different gain structures just in the clean channel that you can get to. I'm going to switch back to 100 watts now and move on to the lead channel. The high gain, there was the master volume pot here pulls out for what Carvin called a hot rod setting. This was like for people who were hot wiring their Marshalls to get more gain out of them, putting master volumes in and stuff like that back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, I guess. I remember people having those mods. I don't think there was an amp out at the time. Even Mesa Boogie, I don't think was doing it, getting this much preamp gain out of an amp. So I think the Carvin was way ahead of its time. Here I have the lead drive on about 8.5, 9, and the master on 1.5. So that's with the lead drive on about 8.5. You can turn it back to about 1 or 2, and you'll get more of that classic mild distortion. So, could go that route. if I really wanted a lighter distortion, I would go with the clean channel at 50%. Would be a better mild distortion or classic rock kind of tone. So, like I said, I like to drive way up. A lot of preamp gain. 12 AX7 tubes, 3 preamp tubes, 4 606s. Now there is, if you take that hot rodded setting out, it gets real, a lot of low end, real heavy. That's the bridge pickup. This is the neck pickup. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. That's the coming through the vintage 30s. I'm also going to do a little demo here, let you hear what it sounds like. It came with G12M70 Celestions in the 412. Both these cabinets have those speakers in them. I bought this in '84, that I bought around '87 to add on to it. And another cool feature was this cabinet came wired at 4 ohms. When I got that Carvin, it changed to 16 ohms, but I rewired it for 4 ohms. Called up a technician to make sure this head was going to be safe running down to 2 ohms, and he told me no problem. And it's been running 2 ohms for 30 years, nearly 30 years. I've had this amp, and it's been no issue. It's real strong, no problem. The other thing too, it's got a spring reverb in it. I guess tube-driven spring reverb, and it's pretty awesome sound. It sounds pretty natural. I've always used it. Let me switch over to 412 with the other Celestions in it. Switch my setting to 4 ohms. Pop it down to this cabinet. And I'm just going to play the same opening riff I did earlier. That's it. Carvin X100B, 1984, 606s. One badass amplifier right there. Thank you.